Hello. Today we're going to cover a chair. I'm skiving from work actually, so I'm going to make this very quick. You've seen me upholstered a chair. It was 6 of them, and I show you 2 I've got in my workroom. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly show you how to do the measurements for the chair, and then afterward we're going to cover these chairs very quickly. Now, because I've done a little diagram for you of this chair. Simple. It's a standard. Most people have this. What I've worked out is I've looked at a pattern and I thought, okay, let me use the pattern and cover the chair. But patterns are not that easy to read all the time. As experienced as I am, I can read it, but it takes me such a long time to work out what they've done, because they've done some shortcuts. They don't actually tell you the full details what you need to do. They've just done enough to sell the pattern through, in my opinion. So what I'm going to do now is I've done a diagram for you, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to do the measurements and fill these gaps in. And of this chair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a skirt that goes right the way down, that covers the leg as well. So, and on this chair, on each of the corners, I'm going to put some pleats in because it looks nicer with pleats in. So hopefully I should get 1, 2, 3, 4 panels to do this chair, hopefully. Now this chair is going to take up roughly around 4 meters of fabric, 4.5, 4. If I can do it less, it'd be brilliant, because I've worked out that 4 meters of fabric, and this fabric is £16 a meter, what I covered it with. So if you can imagine 4 meters of fabric, 16 and 16 is 32, £64 just to buy the fabric to cover one chair. Now that's pretty expensive. Now if you're getting somebody to make it for you, you've got to pay that plus the labour. And if I would say you'd pay probably around £30 to £40 to have it made. So you're talking about £100 just to cover a chair. Is it worth it in the end? Especially if you've got 6 chairs. That's £600 just to cover 6 chairs. That's something to think about. Now, but if you go and get some cheap fabric, £5, £10 a meter, it's still expensive, but it's a lot cheaper, especially if you've got children, you need to cover it. Now, after I made these curtains, the customer wanted it covered. It's going to cost her just as much to cover it. Well, anyway, let's get on with it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the top of our chair. So the top of our chair is 17.5 inches. But that is exact. Now, I would allow seam allowance of 1 inch all the way round. So 17.5 inches will now become 18.5 inches. And what I find as well is, of that seam allowance, it's only ½ inch each side. And because I like to overlock things, and when you actually put the piping on, you find that that ½ inch actually isn't enough for those of you who are going to overlock it, because the piping kind of pushes it over. So for those who, so 3/4 inch if you want to allow, so that's 3/4 inch, no it's not, sorry, 1.5 inch seam allowance, which is 4 centimeters. So that means 2 centimeters either side, and then you've got enough to cut off, especially if you're going to overlock it. That's the problem I find. So we've got that there. So now we're going to measure downwards, down to this point here. that is 29 inches. Now this bit here, we're going to include this gap. Here at the side is 3 inches at either side, but we want this fabric to be in one sweep. So we'll do it from edge to edge. And this chair's working out to be 23 inches plus 1.5. Now the seat here, if the plastic wasn't on it, you can go in and do it deeper, which is 21 inches. So I will add on 2 inches to push inside this gap here. You don't have to use it, but it's there just in case. So that, and by the way, if you notice, I'm doing everything in inches, not centimeters. Right. Now this bit here, I'm going to cut the seat all in one as well. So from here to the other side is 31 inch. Right. So when this bit, I'm cutting this all in one, this is going to be at one big square. And then when I've cut the one big square, almost a square, when I've cut this all in one, which should be one big square, this corner here, I'm going to miter this corner. So what happened with this corner on this fabric, you kind of cut out, you cut a little square out to allow the fabric to come down and fold back on itself, and then you stitch that up, right? So we're going to stop it right there, and then we take the back of the chair. What we also have to remember is we measure the top of the chair, and we also have to measure the bottom of the chair as well, because as you can see, the top of the chair is not as wide as the bottom of the chair. So the bottom is wider, so it comes out as at an angle. So you have to bear all that in mind. So this one here is 17, and up the top is up the top is 17, and down the bottom is 18. So it's coming out at 1 inch. So down the bottom is 18 inches. Right. So that's that. So now from this bit here, we're going to measure to the floor. So there to the floor is 15 inches. Allow for your seam allowance, which is at the top, which is 1 inch. We'll give it 1 inch. So that's 15, that's 16. But here now, because we're going to hem it and we want a nice finish, here, I'm going to allow 2 inch to turn up so it finishes. So that 16 inches now becomes an extra 2 inches. It becomes 18 inches drop. Now notice from here to here, and from the bottom of the chair to that, it's not the same measurement. So we need to take the measurement as well as for the bottom. So the bottom of this side is 20 inches. At the back, it's 17 inches. Let's see what the front is. The front is 20. So we have to take each one of the measurements different, and write this down, because we've got to allow for it. So the back, 17 inches. The front, 20, and the side, 20. So we have 20, 20, 20, and 17 at the back. Now, as I said to you, each one of these legs, I am going to put a pleat in it so it looks like a skirt. So now, how much, that's down to you to save fabric or not. I'm going to put the pleats, say, 2 inch either side. So I need to allow